Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now the Bitcoin price is finding resistance at this exact Fibonacci level. And on top of that, we are seeing the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index in neutral for the first time in months. So I'll be covering all of that and more in this video. And if that sounds good to you, make sure to drop a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, you might as well subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. But with all of that out of the way, let's get straight into what this video is about. So right here, we're on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the daily time frame, and we've got a 38.2% Fibonacci level coming in at around 44,000 approximately. The 44k level is a point of resistance that I have been talking about over the past few days, and now we are finding some short-term resistance at pretty much this exact level. And one of the other reasons why the Bitcoin price is cooling off a little bit in the shorter term is because on some slightly smaller time frames, like the 12-hour chart, for example, the Bitcoin RSI just recently entered into overbought territories, meaning that we are technically due for a bit of a short-term cool-off. But keep in mind, we also saw a similar thing back in that July pump last year out of that bearish price action. In fact, just zooming into the July 2021 price action, once again, we saw a lot of bearish price action leading into a very fast recovery, which left a lot of investors very confused, especially those that were expecting lower Bitcoin prices. And then the moment the Bitcoin RSI entered into overbought territories on the 12-hour time frame, we did end up seeing a bit of a short-term cool-off before continuing the uptrend later on. But if you're looking in the daily RSI, technically we still have some more room to the upside before we start getting overbought on the daily chart. Now, if Bitcoin decides to break straight above 44k without seeing much more of a cool off, then in that case, that would speed up the process for the daily RSI reaching overbought territories, which means we could possibly see a slightly larger cool off later on, possibly within the next couple weeks or so. But in terms of some other levels of resistance, I'll be paying attention to the 50% level, which is coming in close to 48,000, and more importantly, the golden pocket, which is coming in between 52 and 53,000 US dollars per Bitcoin. As I've mentioned in a lot of my recent Bitcoin update videos, that is the level that we need to break above in order to confirm a longer term uptrend for Bitcoin. Because if Bitcoin fails to break above the golden pocket, then all of this is pretty much just a shorter term rally. But what if we do end up seeing more of a short term cool off pretty much right now? Well, in that scenario, it is important to note some levels of support. For example, this range of support, which is coming in between 40,000 and 42,000. And you can see in past Bitcoin price action just how important this price range has been for Bitcoin. So that is why I'll be focusing on this range of support if we do see a bit more of a rejection from the 38.2% Fibonacci level. But keep in mind, here on the 3-day time frame for Bitcoin, we have only just seen the breakout in the 3-day RSI within the last 1 week or so. And historically speaking, if you're simply taking a look at these other examples that we have seen in Bitcoin's past, a breakout like this in the 3-day RSI usually means that we are due for at least a multi-week uptrend of some sort, but in more of a bullish scenario, possibly a multi-month uptrend like what we saw in between July and November last year. And I feel like I have to mention this every video, especially anytime we see some short-term bearish price action. If we start forming a new uptrend here for Bitcoin, as this signal suggests, that does not mean that we are only going to see bullish price action. Of course, we see red in the middle of an uptrend. That is completely normal. I just thought I should mention that because I see some comments out there that start panicking and thinking that we are about to crash to the downside the moment we see a tiny bit of red. So if you find yourself in that situation, simply zoom out on the chart, look at the bigger picture, and look at signals that are playing out right now. And speaking of Bitcoin signals, the subscribers would already know about this because I've been talking about it almost every day for over a month now. But for anyone new to the channel, the Bitcoin price on the 3-day time frame and the MACD indicator has been forming a giant bullish divergence ever since December last year. But technically speaking, this only starts to translate into the Bitcoin price after we start seeing a bullish cross in the 3-day MACD, which we are potentially starting to see right now, but this does not confirm until we see a 3-daily candle close, which is what we need to cement this bullish cross in the MACD. And at the time of recording this video, the next 3-daily candle close is in about 9 hours from now, and I'll be sure to keep you updated on this in tomorrow's Bitcoin update video. But if you want a real-time update, make sure you follow me over on my Twitter, and the link to my Twitter is in the description down below and also in the pinned comment. And now taking a quick look at the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, which is right now sitting at neutral for the first time in over 2 months. In fact, if we're looking at the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index as an indicator on the Bitcoin chart, this really gives us a good perspective at the stages that the market goes through. And what's very interesting is we usually either stay in extreme fear or extreme greed for in between around 1 to 3 months, and on average around 2 months in length. For example, back in March and April 2020, we were sitting in extreme fear for just under 2 months, and then during June and July 2020, 2021, we were sitting in extreme fear for just over 2 months. And then during December and January, we were also sitting in extreme fear for around 2 months. And this also works quite well when we're sitting in greed. As you can see, in this example, during October and November, we were sitting in greed for around 1.5 months. And we also saw a very similar amount of greed back in August 2020. And then looking at this time period right here, in between around November 2020 and January 2021, we were sitting in extreme greed for in between around 2.5 to 3 months. So as I said earlier, these sort of phases in the markets from fear to greed normally last for around 1 to 3 months, and on average around 2 months. So basically 2 months in extreme fear and then 2 months in greed, for example. And now it's important to mention that that is only just an average, not a guarantee. So instead of using this information and saying that something is definitely going to happen, we can use this information to say that something is more likely to happen. For example, over the next couple months, it is technically more likely, according to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, that we have some sort of bullish price action or bullish trend as the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index starts trending back into greed of some sort. And then after we might see a month or two of greed or extreme greed in the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, that usually presents us with a decent opportunity to take some profits off the table. And I will make sure to keep you updated on this in these YouTube videos. And in return, I would really appreciate it if you could just leave a like on the video down below, which costs you nothing. And if you are new to the channel, you might as well subscribe with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these important updates that I post every single day. And before you click off, for the new viewers out there, make sure you're checking out one of these uploads if you haven't already. And as always, I appreciate all of your support on the channel. I cannot thank you enough. But anyway, that is it for this update. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.